That day was a normal day. I went to work, came home, we did our normal routine.
That day she went outside with me. I was playing with my puppy and she taught me how to play badminton. Then after that, we just went inside, watched a movie, ate dinner. I ended up going to sleep in her room that night.
Everything was normal. You know, I kissed my daughter goodnight and went to bed.
I was in the den watching TV. I said, time for me to go, get a bed. It was like 2 o'clock, so I got in the bed. She was trying to gag forever.
So he calls 911, and they instruct him to check for a pulse, and there's no pulse. They actually told him how to do CPR. He had never done CPR before, had never trained in it. They told him how to do it, and he starts doing CPR on his wife. I can't imagine being married myself, what that was like.
I love her, I couldn't lose her. I love her and I couldn't lose her. Fire truck came, they came inside. They picked my wife up and they took out the bed, put her on the floor. Then they pumped her chest with a machine. They shocked her twice and intubated her all at one time in the house. And after that, I told my daughter to go in the living room. And she said, "Dad, watch all this." And I told her, I said, "You all right?" She told me, "Dad, be strong."
Paramedics, they recognized, okay, this woman's not breathing, she doesn't have a pulse, so they started an airway by putting an endotracheal tube in. And unfortunately, nobody knew, but Martha had a very tiny airway. And so a normal person's airway is going to be about the size of your thumb, maybe just a little bigger. Hers is the size of her pinky. But when they put a normal sized tube in there, they saved her life. But they had no way of knowing that this was going to cause damage. And probably what it did is the tube probably tore the end of the trachea off of the larynx, so causing a complete laryngotracheal separation.
I woke up about 7 to 10 days later in the hospital, not knowing what had gone on. In the beginning, I was just thankful to be alive. But then I realized, well, okay, I can't talk. My life has changed.
When I realized she wasn't able to talk, it was like, the first time I saw her with a trach was on FaceTime. I was scared, thinking that it was gonna stay in there forever. But then I was still happy in my mind because I knew that she was alive and with me. All of the end of 2017, I thought that was gonna be the rest of my life. Just not being able to hear my mom's voice, not being able to do the same things. Just knowing what my mom has been through in her life, I know that I'll have more hard points than this coming up in my life. So I knew I had to stay strong for this one because I still have a whole life in front of me and I need to know how to get through things just like she did.
ENT doctor said there was nothing that could be done and he referred me to Shreveport to Dr. Weinberger.
Dr. Weinberger told her, "You are too young not to be talking, it's not safe." He said, "We're gonna correct this."
When we were done with our first visit, and I said that I thought I could help, just the tears that welled up in his eyes, that's all the motivation you need for sure. Her airway was completely closed off below her vocal cords, and also her vocal cords didn't move. And so that's a big problem, because if you just have complete blockage of the airway between a tracheostomy and the larynx, that's still an extraordinarily difficult problem to address. But then if you also have blockage at the level of the vocal cords, that's two things that have to be fixed and can really be quite challenging. But I've done cases like this before, and so I knew that it was possible.
We went through the process and we scheduled my first procedure in July of 2018, which was where he would go in and take some cartilage from my rib area and put it in my throat to help to rebuild my airways.
We'll take a piece of rib cartilage and we'll harvest that in the first surgery. Usually take it from the sixth rib and we shave it into kind of a long square piece, and that's going to be the structural support. And then we bank that in their neck in one of the muscles. And we leave that in place. That sits for about 8 weeks. And then we'll come back once that cartilage is healthy and happy, and then we'll do the rebuilding.
Then I went back about 3 months later and we did a skin graft and put that in my throat area.
And so we'll take a skin graft off of the thigh and we'll wrap that around a stent, just a plastic tube basically. And then we'll take the muscles that we put the cartilage in and we'll bring those and use those as the new wall. And the cartilage forms the structural framework. And we put the skin graft, that's going to be the new lining of the new airway.
By December of 2018, we had another procedure scheduled where he went in and he gave me a T-tube.
Which, instead of having the trach, is just a soft piece of plastic tubing that goes in like this and then has a branch point and just a short little bit to prop open that tissue that the trach tube was pushing in. And so we put that in and woke her up, and in recovery we're able to hear her voice for the first time in quite a while. Her first words were thank you. Yep. Which that's a joy to hear.
For Christmas of 2018, I was able to talk to my family for the first time.
She still sounds the same. I just looked, she said, I was happy. She told me she loved me. She told me she loved me.
The first thing that both of us said was, I love you so much.
And she's here, she's talking again. She's good.
Thank you. Thank you for taking time to take care of me. And thank you for being so giving and so kind.
I love y'all. I love y'all. And whatever y'all doing, keep doing it. Because there are many people out there that need a lot of love. They're doing a beautiful job.
Her husband, that's a hero. I mean, anybody would have frozen at that moment. And he didn't.
Every time I hear a voice when she wakes me up in the morning, I smile. I smile every day. I smile because I know she's here with me. I know I'm gonna grow with her.
It's definitely made us stronger. We're inseparable. We already were inseparable, but we're definitely inseparable now.